Dogs can't talk, right? I mean, they bark, they growl, they whine. But those are just sounds they make because they don't have the ability to speak English or any other human language. They just do what comes naturally. Meanwhile, cats meow at us because they know it gets our attention. It's their way of saying, hey, human, pay attention to me. But if they're not talking to us, then what are they saying to each other? And what about all the other animals out there? Are they really just making random noises with no real meaning behind them? Of course not. Every animal has its own unique way of communicating with its own species, and some of the things they're saying might just surprise you. Take honeybees. For example, when a honeybee returns to the hive after going out on a foraging trip, it will perform a little dance to tell the other bees where it found the best flowers. The dance is called a waggle dance, and it consists of the bee waggling its abdomen from side to side while moving in a figure-8 pattern. The angle that the bee makes relative to the vertical tells the other bees what angle to fly off in to find the flowers. So if the bee is wagging to the right, the flowers are to the right of the hive. If it's wagging to the left, then the flowers are to the left of the hive. And the waggle run itself indicates how far away the flowers are. A longer waggle run means the flowers are farther away. This is an example of a communication scientist call an index call. An index call is a signal that gives information about the world. For example, a honeybee communicating to another honeybee. These small songbirds are found throughout Europe and parts of North Africa. And like many songbirds, they have a special call that they use to defend their territory from rivals. The Chiff-Chaff S song is made up of a series of notes that can be divided into 2 parts. The first part is a warble, which consists of several notes that are close together in pitch. The second part is a rattle, which consists of several quick short notes. The song is given by both the male and the female, and they sing it from a perch high up in a tree. The song is used to defend a territory, and the size of the territory depends on the quality of the habitat. In good habitat, the territory is around 300 meters wide. But in bad habitat, it's around 100 meters wide. Now, rival chiff-chaffs will sometimes try to sneak into the territory and take over the nest. But this is a risky strategy because if the resident pair hears them, they may launch a mobbing attack, which basically means a bunch of birds attacking a perceived threat, and they mob the intruder until it leaves the territory. And it turns out that the more notes the chiff-chaff sings in its song, the more likely it is that intruders will be mobbing it. And yes, the number of notes in their song is related to the quality of their territory. The better the territory, the more notes they can afford to sing. So what started out as a simple song became a complex one through evolution. As habitats changed and as predators evolved and as the chiff-chaff needed to attract more mates and protect its young, the song became more and more elaborate. It even changed in the 1960s when a new predator showed up. The great spotted cuckoo is a brood parasite, which means that instead of incubating its own eggs, it lays its eggs in the nests of other birds. So if a chiff-chaff laid an egg in a nest, the cuckoo would lay an egg in that same nest too. Then the poor chiff-chaff would raise the cuckoo chick along with its own. So in response to this new pressure, chiff-chaff songs got more complex. The males started singing from higher up in the trees so they could be heard over the cuckoo call. And they started using more variable and less predictable songs. These new songs were harder for the cuckoo chicks to learn, so fewer of them tried to imitate the adults and beg for food. Now, scientists think that this is actually an example of an honest signal. An honest signal is a signal that is reliable and cannot be faked. It's kind of like a badge of courage. You can't fake having a scar, right? Well, the chiff-chaff song is kind of like that. It takes a lot of energy to produce complex songs. So, if a male is able to sing a complex song, it shows that it's healthy and strong. And females prefer to mate with stronger males because they're more likely to produce offspring that survive. And if a cuckoo happens to be listening, then it knows to pick a different nest to lay its eggs in. Okay, but what about dogs and cats? Like I said in the beginning, dogs don't speak English, but they do have their own languages. And I know what you're thinking. How can we understand their languages if they don't speak English? Well, it turns out we can. By listening to recordings of dogs and playing them back in altered speeds, researchers were able to identify 5 different vocalizations that dogs use to communicate. Play vocalizations like whining and yelping are often produced before or during play and are usually directed at humans. Alert and responsive vocalizations are produced when the dog is paying attention to something, and it often elicits a response from the owner. And the location call is what the dog uses to find other dogs. It's produced in a variety of contexts, including when the dog is lost or separated from its owner. Now, cats are a little more complicated because they have over 100 different vocalizations. Like dogs, they use growling and hissing to communicate with other cats. But they also use purring. Most people assume that cats only purr when they're happy, but that's not true. Cats purr for many reasons, including attracting a mate, defending their young, or just being territorial jerks